Who is Ron Johnson, and why does he matter so much to the Mat-Su Valley and to the state of Alaska? Ron Johnson was born in 1950 in Indiana. At 75 years young, he is still actively serving his family, his community, and his church. Ron is guided by the following principles: faith, family, service, and freedom. In 1968, Ron married the love of his life, Janet. Together, they've been married for almost 6 decades. In fact, next February, they'll celebrate their 57th wedding anniversary. They have 2 children, Clifford and Jason. Family has always been the center of Ron and Janet's life. In 1971, with 2 small children, in fact the youngest only 1 month old, Ron enlisted in the United States Air Force. During Vietnam, he served overseas for 3.5 years as armed security for an intelligence unit. In 1974, Ron was honorably discharged from the United States Air Force. The following year, in 1975, Ron and Janet reached a turning point in their life. While at a marriage conference, they turned their lives over to Jesus Christ. Since then, every decision of any consequence Ron and Janet have made have been based on the teachings of Jesus Christ and their faith in Him. After years of working in Indiana and Florida, Ron, based upon his love of faith, family, and the outdoors, moved his entire family all the way north to Alaska. It is in Alaska that Ron's natural leadership has made a lasting mark. For more than 25 years, Ron has served in leadership positions in Farm Loop Christian Center. He has served in men's ministries, as leader of the Deacons Board, and on the board of directors, all while walking alongside men with addiction and those that are facing the darkest times in their life. His service has extended beyond his church, serving in leadership positions in the NRA Foundation Mat-Su Committee, and later in public service as precinct leader and then vice chair and chair of District 12, now District 25. In 2016, Ron was elected region leader for the entire Mat-Su region, serving until 2024. During that time, he helped lead major grassroots victories, including strengthening conservative leadership on both the school board and assembly, and leading the successful effort to move local elections from October to November, bringing higher turnout and greater community involvement. But what truly defines Ron is not a title, it's how he leads. Ron has always worked to bring people together, encouraging unity, cooperation, and shared purpose. He helped connect churches with civic life, mentored candidates, and served wherever leadership was needed, including the Mat-Su Plating Board and as president of the Butte Community Council since 1920. So when people talk about Ron Johnson, they talk about a man of conviction, a man of heart. And next, you'll hear from people who know him best, sharing what Ron's leadership, faith, and friendship have meant to them.
I met Ron and Janet Johnson at a District 12 meeting years ago, and I knew immediately they were the epitome of wisdom and truth, and I wanted to be just like them. They seem to be everywhere. They come early and they stay late, and they love everyone. I think that I'm their favorite, but I probably am not, because I constantly hear reports of them having coffee with this person or having dinner with this person, and they are just pouring into us patriots that are wanting to be just like them. I recently had a student at an event, and she asked me, how do all these people know to show up here? And I went, oh, that's because of Ron and Janet Johnson. And she looked at me and she goes, are you kidding me? 2 people can be that powerful? And I was like, absolutely. And the reason why they're powerful is because they have the love of the Lord. They demonstrate godly principles everywhere that they go. And when I get to heaven, I am so excited about telling Jesus that I am thankful for the Johnsons to be a part of this chapter of our life.
So when I think about Ron Johnson, I think about selfless servant leadership. Most people, they give you either their time, their talent, or their treasure. Ron gives you all 3. Years ago, when I first ran for state senate, I got to meet him at a district chair meeting, and then I got to meet him through the Valley Republican Women, and the man was everywhere. He is always giving of his time and donating his resources. If you try to go to an event to get there to set up early, I guarantee that Ron beat you there. That is one thing about him. He is always there. He's always putting things together, and he's always about other people. He's also so easy to talk to when it comes about faith. That's one of the things I respect the most about him, is I've had a lot of very good conversations with him about what it means to be a Christian, what it means to be a man and a father. And Ron is that person that you can always rely on and look up to. He's one of those people that he doesn't even realize how much of a mentor he has been to so many people throughout the valley by bringing people together, by showing us what it looks like to be a very good man. And that's far too little of that in the world these days. And with Ron, that is just somebody that we all have in common to look to, and somebody we all just benefit from being around.
I am honored to honor Ron Johnson this evening. He is the reason the Mat-Su is what it is, why we're the envy of the state, why families are moving to the Mat-Su borough, because he had a vision to make sure that we were a place where conservative values are honored, and I am grateful. There were times when he spurred many of us to get involved, whether it was school board races, assembly races, legislative races. But many times he worked quietly and hard by himself along with Janet, and I'm so grateful actually for both of them. And I also want to say, he's mentored me over the years, and he held me accountable. He did not hesitate to call me, and I am so grateful for that. I learned a lot from him, and he is, again, the reason why we are the envy of the state. And so tonight, I am privileged to be before you to say, let's celebrate Ron Johnson. Let's celebrate all that he has done for us. Thank you, Ron and Janet.
Thanks, Ron and Janet, for all of your hours, your years that you've put in to make the Mat-Su borough the best place to live, work, and play. You have dedicated tireless hours and talked to and traveled the borough widely, and you know the borough very, very well, and we've counted on you to do that. You have been a strategist for all of us. From the time that we even thought about running or trying to recruit people, you were way ahead of us all of the time, looking for people, knowing people, setting up the vetting. Just thanks, 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 thanks. Happy New Year.
Hi, Ron. I would like to express my deepest gratitude for you over the years. You've been a really good mentor to me. I remember one of the best pieces of advice you've ever given me is it takes over 100 small things in a campaign to work well in unison in order for the campaign to be successful without any major errors. And, you know, that's not the only piece of advice you've given me. You've been a close friend, you've been a close confidant, and honestly, you've just been an amazing mentor. You've helped me grow so much in this environment, and most of all, you've been a great friend. I've appreciated all the times we've had dinner with you and Janet. You two are an amazing, amazing husband and wife, and I really look up to both of you. Thank you so much for what you have done for this community, and thank you so much for what you have done for your friends. Thank you, Ron.
I first met Ron Johnson when I decided to attend a Republican Women's Club meeting for the first time. And when I arrived, nobody had a flag to say the Pledge of Allegiance to. So we all stood and said the pledge to Ron's flag shirt. And that's a standard if you know Ron. And I will say that Ron Johnson is the person in this valley that everybody turns to when they have questions, they need advice. We have such respect for him. And he brings us all together. I will say that running for the school board, Ron was the person that I would call for advice. He was always a face in the audience at the school board meetings, and he has brought us all together enough to have a completely conservative school board in the valley, and it was Ron Johnson that accomplished that.
Ron, hey, first of all, I'm sorry that I couldn't be here tonight. Trinity and I had a short trip planned with the kids before we head off to Juneau, get some family time in, but I've been doing a lot of thinking lately. You know, I knew this was coming, and it's been about 7 years since we met, 6 or 7 years, and we all worked together as a team on that ballot initiative to change the date of the local elections. It turned out to be the best thing that we ever did for the Mat-Su borough. What a fantastic move that was, and I know it was your idea. I cannot thank you enough for all of the wisdom over the years. We were so close to getting to the dream that we set of having all 15 of our local seats in the Mat-Su Borough be Republican and conservative. We're only one away. Most people would have thought that would never happen, but a lot of election integrity changes in the Mat-Su Borough that have led to this. You were at the front end of all of that. I'm super grateful for everything that you've ever done for us, and I really appreciate all of the ideas that I would always come up with, being able to call you, being able to bounce them off you, get feedback, and have you help me refine those. I appreciate all the help over the years with strategy and how to get us to where we were. 15 strong out here, and we're almost there. So all of that was, in my opinion, because of your wisdom. Happy holidays, Happy New Year, God bless. Again, I'm sorry I couldn't be here tonight, but I am forever grateful for your friendship and your wisdom. Thanks for everything. Enjoy your day.
Hello, Ron. I just want to express my gratitude to you for phenomenal work that you're doing in the Valley. I hear great things, great things. You're bringing people together, and the only person I know who can bring people together is me. But from what I'm hearing, you're doing a phenomenal job. Keep up the good work. Keep bringing young people together. Keep bringing all these folks together so we can make stuff happen. We're gonna make America great again, but we're also gonna make Alaska great again. And I hear Mat-Su Valley, you are the main man behind this. So thank you, Ron. Can't wait to see you soon.
What can you say about Ron and Janet Johnson? They have been married for over 50 years. And what a living example of unity, that not only do they talk about it, but they live it. So that is such an important example to our younger generation. And also, they exemplify what it means to be a conservative. With that, we are so fortunate to have had them and continue to have them as a great influence in the Valley, because our young people, our next generation, they need people like Ron and Janet to look up to. So we are looking forward to continuing with you, but we also want to let you know how much we truly appreciate everything that you guys have done ever since I've known you, and that's been a few years. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you again.
Ron and Janet, as you can see, Mike and Michelle here, we wanted to take a moment, along with all the other people, which ought to give you an idea just how important you are up here in the Valley, to tell you thank you. We've known you for about a decade. You have been good friends to us. You have helped mentor us along the way as we have learned the ropes in politics, especially in a small town like the Mat-Su, where it can be full of minefields as you work your way along. You guys have been incredibly helpful to us. You guys have been incredibly helpful to the Valley. You have meant an awful lot to an awful lot of people. As everybody knows, it takes a lot of work for a grassroots organization, the Republican Party, for example, to make it happen. You guys have been there every step of the way. You put in more work, I think, than anybody will ever know in the background, because people see that all the time. They never see what happens, right? So what Michelle and I want to do here was just tell you thank you from the bottom of our hearts for all that you have done for us, for all that you have done for so many people, the Mat-Su and the Republican Party in the state of Alaska. It matters more than you may ever know. With that, God bless, take care, and hopefully we'll see you soon.
So I want to say that Ron Johnson was one of the first people that ever believed in me. In my very first ran for office, he invited me to his home for a meet and greet, one of the first people to do so, and I will always be thankful for that. I treasure the moments that I've been able to spend with Ron. He has been a trusted ally and friend throughout my entire career in the legislature, and even outside of the legislature. Ron has always been there no matter what position I was in, no matter what policy we were talking about. I'm able to talk to him as a confidant and somebody who I can lean on to help me get through tough times and through happy times. I just want to say that, Ron, you are a wonderful friend, which is the most important thing to me, and you are a wonderful friend to the Valley. Thank you, Ron Johnson.
Ron, I just want to thank you. We owe you a big round of gratitude for all the work you've put in over the years, flipping the school board, the assembly, electing great people. You appointed me to be a faith outreach person in the region, and that was great. I was glad to be able to work with you side by side. You did a great job, you and your wife working together, and we made this valley a way much better place to live.
The first time I met Ron Johnson was when I was running for school board. I was told that if I wanted to really go after this, that I had to get through Ron. And so I went and met with him and Janet. We went out to eat at Chepo's, and we sat across the table from each other and talked about our vision for Alaska and this valley, and it was all centered around unity. And it was the year that I lost my dad, and so going into something this big and not having that pillar in my life, when I met Ron, it was like a godsend to have somebody like a father in the faith and somebody encouraging you. And he's been that way all the way through my state house race, and it just feels like he's the older, wiser generation passing the baton to us, and then we get to take and pass that to the generation that comes after us. And so I couldn't be more thankful to know somebody like Ron Johnson. Thank you, Ron.
Ron Johnson, I want to thank you. I want to thank you for all the help you've given me. And I want to thank you for the unity that you've kept us legislators together with. We come to you for advice, we come to you for information, and yours is always the correct one. And I appreciate it, and I thank you. But I'm thinking back about a little less than 20 years ago. We were in line, it was wrapped all the way around the Dena'ina, and we were in the back end waiting to see the vice president candidate. And that's where I first met you, and ever since that day, I have never regretted a minute. Appreciate it, Ron. It's your day.
Having a father-like figure like Ron Johnson in your life is an amazing thing to have. You can call Ron about anything and ask any questions, and he would always give you an honest advice and which direction to go, and for that, I appreciate you, Ron.
Hi, I want you to know that when I ran for public office the first time a few years ago, the very first contributor to my campaign was Ron Johnson. And I wasn't even sure that I could do the job. I wasn't sure I wanted to do the job, but he kind of believed in me, and so I began to believe in myself. Because if you know Ron Johnson, he doesn't bombast, he doesn't force, he doesn't push. He very gently supports and elevates you to where you think, yeah, I can do this. And he's not a politician in the sense that he just talks politics. He walks the talk. A few years ago, we carried a petition to combine the state and federal voting election with the borough election. And Ron and I were out there every day. We got 3,891 signatures, and it's like a job. You just went out in the morning, and I would pass Ron somewhere along the way. We'd wave to each other and go get another petition signed. So he really does what he says he's going to do. And if you are ever in a room with Ron Johnson, you will notice he's just got this kind of force field around him. He's very strength, integrity, leadership. And leaders don't make themselves. People, you earn it. You earn it from the people, and he's got it. And so I think if you want to get something done, if you want phone banking, you want support, you want somebody to talk, he walks the talk. He's out there, borough assembly meetings, state conventions, whatever it is. Ron Johnson is there, and people listen to him. He's also got this kind of cute Southern Florida accent. I think that's kind of cool because it's very gentle. And I think he's a complete package. He's the guy who's going to get her done.
Ron Johnson, thank you for being my dear friend. Lately, I've been introducing myself as Ron Johnson Jr. That is the fact. In fact, you mean so much to me that I called my wife Larissa and I said, Larissa, put in the order. For those of you know, for the longest time, it was very popular to have WWJD bracelets, which means what would Jesus do? Well, guess what, folks? Tonight, you'll have the ability to have one of these. What would Ron Johnson do? WW or JD? Ron, I love you and I love Janet. You both are amazing. This is about you.
One day I was working as a construction manager in Palmer running a modular plant, and I hired a guy named Ron Johnson to be my materials manager. And at that point I was pretty arrogant, full of myself, drinking too much, chewing tobacco, cussing like a sailor. And I had Ron in the office next to me, and I would go into his office and he had this little black transistor radio, and he was always playing this elevator music, this old music, and I would hear stuff, words like worship and praise, and it didn't mean much to me. And we would talk, and I would go back to my office, and this happened for about 6 months. And one day I walked into Ron's office, and he asked me, "Are you going to heaven?" And I said, "You know, I'm a pretty good guy. I've done pretty good things. I've done some bad things, but I think when I get there, God's going to let me in." And I remember Ron jumping up with his finger in my face saying, "It's not enough. You have to accept Jesus as your Lord and Savior if you're going to get in heaven." And as an arrogant manager, my first thought was, I'm going to fire this guy for talking to me like this. I'm going to walk him out the door right now. But God had a different plan. Through that event and inviting me to the men's breakfast before the sportsman's show and dip netting trips and teaching us how to can salmon, His discipleship brought me into the kingdom, and I eventually got saved. And through all my family and through all the things that he's done, he's been a valuable point. 2 years ago, I left the construction industry and took a job as a pastor. Ron, I love you. You will always be the most to me. I know you're being celebrated for your political involvement and pushing the Republican Party forward, and you've been dedicated and committed, and that I'm proud of you. But one day you're going to sit before Jesus, and you're going to be celebrated for your commitment to the kingdom and for sharing the gospel with the people who were unbelievers and now are believers. I love you, buddy.
And now that we know Ron just a little bit better, I wanted to thank all those who have shared their personal stories of Ron Johnson and how he has affected their lives. Thank you, Ron, for your service, for your dedication, for your faith, and your willingness to be a part of this community and serve this community.